He's been dubbed the appraiser of doom. From Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment to the Heaven's Gate mansion, Randall Bell has made a career out of putting price tags on some of America's grisliest murder sites. Today, Randall is taking Daily Mail viewers inside some of the infamous houses he's valued and revealing what happens when real estate meets true crime.
The John Benet Ramsey properties, absent the murder and the crime scene issues, it's a beautiful property. But of course, it's associated with a horrible crime that involves children, and the fact that it's unsolved really taints the property, really hits it hard with a lot of stigma.
Randall Bell, the nation's leading expert on properties stigmatized by high-profile disasters and sensational murders, sat down with DailyMailTV to explain how a notorious crime can affect a property's asking price.
With a murder or a suicide, the typical effect on the property value is about a 10 to 25% discount.
Randall recalls the shockingly infamous crime that launched his career, the O.J. Simpson case.
The Bundy Avenue condo where Nicole was murdered is actually a very beautiful property.
In 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were found brutally murdered in front of Nicole's home.
I knew Nicole's father, Lou Brown. When the murders occurred, Lou listed the property for $795,000. I had the delicate task of explaining to him that just because the property was famous didn't mean that it was necessarily worth more. We had to wait about 2 years to get a buyer. Eventually it sold for $525,000.
Despite his ability to remain unflappable, Randall says he found one property particularly chilling.
One of the most bizarre cases that really stands out in my mind was Heaven's Gate.
In 1997, infamous Heaven's Gate cult leader Marshall Applewhite convinced his followers that a spacecraft hiding in the tail of a comet would carry them to a higher level.
Your only chance to evacuate is to leave with us.
39 members, including Applewhite, consumed applesauce laced with barbiturates and tied plastic bags over their heads.
I don't want to be graphic, but to have bodies in every room for 3 days, it smelled really bad. There was blood all over the place. That property was purchased in 1997 for about $1.6 million, and then after the mass suicide, nobody wanted to touch it. It eventually sold for about $668,000, which was a fraction of what it was worth.
Surprisingly, Randall says not all crime scenes lead to a decrease in property value. The home where Sharon Tate was brutally murdered by Charles Manson's followers somehow escaped the taint of its horrific history.
Sharon Tate was actually a renter. She did not own the house. And the owner of the properties, he moved into the property. He lived there for years. In the late 1980s, he actually sold the property for full value. What that tells me is that over time, even stigma from something as bad as the Manson murders goes away in terms of how the real estate responds to it.
We asked Randall to give us the latest scoop on one more notorious property, Michael Jackson's infamous Neverland Ranch.
It has no chance, really, in my opinion, of ever turning into a Graceland or something like that. The property was listed for $100 million, and when I heard that, frankly, I kind of laughed to myself, and I thought this was pretty optimistic. Turned out I was right. They've already dropped the price down to about $31 million.
And be sure to check out Randall's latest book, Me, We, Do, Be, the 4 cornerstones of success.